Two unemployed actors. Two unemployed actors. They're just between projects.
Welcome back to Two Unemployed Actors. I'm Max.
I'm Sam.
And we've got a great show for you today.
As always.
I'm full of adrenaline and my heart's going, still sweaty because I've been running around today. I had a production meeting for The Taking, which is shooting in a couple of weeks' time. This is I have to get their production company name because I keep saying the two guys who graduated film school like they're the only two guys that have ever graduated film school.
From the AFTT.
From the AFTT, yes, that I've done the interrogation with, which will be ready in a week, I think.
Did they ask you to audition for this one again? Or
No.
They just knew?
This was actually... The Taking was what they wanted to shoot first. So they were ready to shoot it before Christmas. But when it got delayed, budgetary, et cetera, as happens, they pulled out the interrogation and went, wait a minute, Max, you're perfect for this role. So I played that and I've got a bit part in something else that's happening that got pushed back due to the fires. And now I'm actually going to do the role that I originally auditioned with them for, which is great. Victor, cool. Who's a bit creepy crazy. Oh, maybe he's perfectly sane and everyone else is wrong.
You're getting to the character.
So there won't be any creeper announcer over the top, don't worry. And so that's fun. And it was a great meeting. It's good to have people who are like, they're all over their shit. It's great. Keeping busy with lots of projects. So it's brilliant. Mm-hmm. And so that happened. Then, the life of an actor, had to get my hair cut. So I had an appointment with those in Sydney. You'll know Joe Bailey. Unfortunately, 3 o'clock turned into 2 p.m, turned into can you come as soon as possible? So then I raced in, haircut, out the door, straight to set up studio, the wonderful pop-up studio, and ready to go, ready to rock. Like I spent the entire day just sitting here waiting for this moment.
Beautiful. Look, you've got your fresh haircut, and I had a haircut like a week ago, and it looks like I haven't. I don't know how it grew back again so quickly.
You've been combing it? You wash it?
Actually,
anything?
You know
anything?
What? Yeah. You know what? Actually, it was probably longer than I left it a bit longer because I needed it for headshots, which I got done. I did my headshots.
Congratulations. Because this is what you were umming and ahhing about like less than a
for
fortnight
2
ago.
years.
Well, there was that. And then you actually talked about it out loud to everyone on the 2UA audience, and that made it real because it was in the ecosystem.
Exactly.
So everyone's like, when's it done?
Get it freaking done.
Yeah.
So I booked it. Talked to Kate, she's lovely, and we got it done. Haven't got them yet, but she should send them this week. Actually, I was talking about my podcast for some reason.
Yes.
Our podcast, sorry.
Because you can't help but advertise. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, our podcast. Really Fred's, but ours.
I did say I have a podcast with some random
with some other guy. What's his name again?
Doesn't matter. Irrelevant.
Fred, Jack, Max.
And she said, like, send me a link, and I'll story it. And she's like, I don't have 12,000 followers, but most of my followers are actors.
Everyone helps.
She has like 2,000 followers.
Brilliant.
So I did, and she hasn't yet.
Okay.
So I'll probably...
You'd be stalking her every day until she does going, I've just noticed that you haven't advertised.
Well, maybe she'll post it with my
nice.
headshot. Yeah.
Actually, that's a good idea. Yeah, with the headshot.
Well, she said text me because I'll forget. So I'll do it.
Yeah,
I'll remind her.
Play is official now. It was released Sunday. Max in Lipstick, which is the play production by Lane Stanley. Speaking of stuff to advertise, because I had to write a bio for that, and I feel really awkward.
Oh no!
Writing about myself in the third person, and then I'm like, because normally deep down inside, introvert Max is like, oh, should I say that, or is that a bit wanky? Is that a bit too much?
Oh, yeah,
or is that
you have to like...
Okay, I'll read it.
It's a balance,
I'll
right?
read it for you guys.
You kind of you have to make it kind of, not cocky, but like, you can't be too modest. No. Otherwise, no one's going to...
You don't want one line. Everyone's got like 2 paragraphs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't want to be that guy.
Well, you got the people who say like, he graduated
People say what? Come on.
NIDA, and like all this stuff, so...
I'll find it and I'll read it out because I'm a bit, I don't know. I think it's all right. Okay,
he performed fantastically, and if he does say so himself.
I love it. I think hopefully people don't realise, your average Joe doesn't realise that it's the actors that write this.
I didn't used to know before I started acting.
Good. We'll stick with that.
Just all our listeners will now know when they come.
So the company's theatre travels, and they do lots of reviews and also put on this festival called No Intermission Festival. Mm-hmm. And last year was the first. This year, 500 plus submissions.
Is there no intermission?
Yes. just in case the
wow.
play's that bad.
Yeah.
You don't want people to come back. It's like 500 plus submissions from 27 countries, and we've got 8 plays. Lipstick is one that I'm in. It's a comedy farce. Max Belmonte is Hank in Lipstick, 14th to 17th of May from the Chippen Street Theatre. Tickets are available. Max is an actor and voiceover artist who also created and co-hosts the podcast Two Unemployed Actors. See, I've got to plug in.
Nice.
Max had parts in, listen to this, Max had parts in the New Adventures of Flipper television series in the mid-90s.
Oh, yeah.
And after a brief 20-year corporate career, he has returned to the stage and screen in 2019. Appearing in Deadly Women for the Discovery Channel, Home and Away, and Finding Season for Foxtel, workshops with Anthony Brandon Wong and Darren Gilshanen inspired Max to get back to the stage as Felix in The Odd Couple and to lead in the Australian play Half Your Luck with Sharkbite Theatre. How's that? Is that all right?
That was good.
Yeah?
I actually feel like reading my
I reached back to mid-90s to get the New Adventures of Flipper in there.
It was good. No, it's really good. I kind of want to.
Let's do yours.
This was mine for the last 5 years.
Okay.
So my most recent
Yes.
theatre production one. So it goes like this. This is Sam's first production with Rising Arts, but he is no stranger to the stage. He has had almost 8 years of experience in this industry under his belt, involving performances in theatre, musical theatre, commercials, short films, television, film, singing gigs, and currently co-hosts a podcast called Two Unemployed Actors.
Yes, you got the plug-in.
Got the plug-in.
Oh,
Some of his theatre production credits include Anything Goes, Thursday's Child, Into the Woods, Grease, The Doorbell, Rhinoceros, Dogfight again, and the world premiere of 3 Weeks in Spring at the State Theatre.
the world premiere.
Oh, it is the world premiere. Yeah.
It was fantastic.
He had spent 2018 developing his performance skills and honing his craft, and is now continuing to focus highly on his acting and music career.
Highly. Don't
Hell
do it
yeah.
lowly. Don't
No,
focus slowly.
He aspires to achieve his dream of acting and entertaining audiences for generations. Hence, he is so excited and grateful to be a part of such an incredible cast and crew in such an emotionally unique and
Wow.
intimate production of the last 5 years.
Beautiful. That was beautiful. I feel like I need to put a music bit in, a violins playing in the
I always
background.
make it so dramatic and finish with the production name at the end. It's a classic.
Well played. That was lovely. No stranger to the stage and screen.
I've copied and pasted
Introducing
that one.
Sam Folden. Well done. That's good.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
I
actually,
think
every
we
time
scraped through. I think we did all right.
I think we did, yeah.
I think we did all right.
Yours is good, and yours is coming
Yeah,
up, so
yeah,
hopefully
yeah.
helps.
It is, yes. For those of you in Sydney, for those of you not in Sydney, get to Sydney 14th to 17th of May. And have a look at the other productions too. They're full on. But they're good.
56% of our listeners are from North America. They're going to come down and watch our...
No excuses. I want to hear
Yeah,
solutions,
yeah.
not excuses,
That's
all
very
right?
true. We have like 1% from Asia or something.
It counts. They
Does
still
count.
count.
Does count.
And growing,
Do you reckon
I'd
it was like an
say.
accidental click?
possibly. But that still counts, damn it. It's still stats. Did you look at the BAFTAs? Did you see I mean, I didn't watch the whole BAFTA award
To be
show.
honest.
Did you see the speeches?
To be honest, I watch a lot of it on YouTube. I haven't watched the BAFTAs yet. I watched a few of the Grammys ones, the Golden Globes ones, but I haven't looked at
I
the
don't want to
BAFTAs yet.
spoil it.
Just
But,
tell me one.
the
Just
two
spoil it.
Aussies represented totally. Margot Robbie and Rebel Wilson. Margot Robbie accepting on behalf of Brad Pitt because he couldn't make it because he's got like a haircut or something important. And that was pretty funny. And Rebel Wilson, I'm not going to ruin it. It was great. You have to YouTube that speech
I'll look it up.
because that was brilliant on so many levels. Had everyone in
yeah.
stitches. From the Royals, a couple of digs there, and all the way through to the all-male nominees.
Oh,
Best
God.
director. So interesting. Definitely have a look. And we were talking about 1917 a few weeks ago. Obviously, British production. I mean, well, obviously, it is British production. So 7 BAFTAs, including
Wow.
Best Picture. So definitely go see that, particularly while it's on the big screen still. So
Well,
do that.
that thing you said about Rebel Wilson talking about like
Oh,
an all
yep.
male nomination, that reminds me of, because Ricky Gervais has hosted the Golden Globes now like 5 times.
yes, and isn't it fantastic every
Oh,
time?
it's so funny. The most recent one, he's like, so I've spoken to the Hollywood press or whatever, the foreign press or whatever it
the
is.
foreign press, the ones who voted.
Hollywood foreign press. We've noticed that there's no female directors nominated, and you know we've spoken about that, and we figured out that the solution is, instead of trying the impossible, we won't hire female directors anymore, and we're
going to call it quits.
we
tried,
There's a
we
lot
lost.
of there's
It's pretty well, it's along those lines. It also starting the night with Prince William, who is the director of the BAFTAs, stating that there isn't enough diversity in the all-white nominees. Like there was I don't think there was any diversity at all, actually. Just thinking from the ones I saw, apologies for those that were. Yeah, so that was pretty, a difficult speech to. He wasn't pulling punches, let's put it that way. So I was pretty much accepting that we need a full and frank review of the processes involved in delivering these nominees because they don't represent the people who actually are working in the industry, really. You've just got these all-white nominees. And then Rebel came in and in her own special entertaining way gave the guys another kick in the balls, quite literally.
Well, see, it's starting to progress within film itself, but then the awards themselves, it's still run by old white dudes.
Because I've seen this in the corporate world, and in the corporate world, lots of companies put in these numbers. They put in these stats. We must have 50%. We must have 40%. Wrong. I don't think that's a totally wrong approach. Definitely, we need to have the best person in the role that can do the job. Doesn't matter where they're from, what they look like, blah, blah. Then look at the causation. Why is it that there's only a whole lot of middle-aged men ready for this role?
Yeah.
What are we doing that's not working in delivering the female talent?
Yeah.
The diversity up.
Yeah.
What's the real cause? Rather than elevating people who aren't ready or the wrong person for the role simply because you want to meet your quota, it's about the cause of addressing why we aren't getting enough females in this particular industry, in this particular business up into senior leadership roles. So I've seen the quotas fail from a corporate perspective because that can sometimes just be, we've met the number, we tick the job, but without addressing the real cause and concerns. Yeah. And I think that, I feel like now versus 20 years ago, at least we're talking about it. Number one, the industry's quite open about it. That's success. And number two, we're seeing more come through. And I know Australia's always been quite international. I feel like we're a bit more international now, not just it's all about Hollywood.
Like Aussies, you
mean?
Yeah.
So I think that helps for us looking insular. But God, at least Hollywood is talking about it, to get that Titanic to shift in mindset all the way through is something I know, right? Because we're talking about a huge industry that's backed by a lot of big businesses with a lot of big budgets. And I get the risk reward scenario, right? We're doing a lot more corporate life, but there comes a time we need to make sure the right talent is ready, the diversity is ready for the big bets. That's my 10 cents.
No, that's a good one.
Here endeth the sermon. Amen. One thing I wanted to talk about today, is what influences are you putting up? Yes? You raised your hand. Go on.
Permission to speak. What's happened this week, real quick?
Yeah.
Little week number.
What have you been up to?
Play some music. Next segment. Here we go. You were going to do that.
Do you like that? Do you like the little segue music?
I haven't heard it yet.
You haven't listened to our podcast?
Wait, was it on the 23rd episode as well?
It's on all the podcasts this year, which is both of them.
Which is just both of them?
Yes.
It's on
and
both.
there's little music beds.
I've skipped through little parts
enough to notice.
Okay.
It's like, anyway, next time.
I haven't listened to the newest one yet. I haven't listened to the newest one yet. I will, trust me. No, because I like listening to it without interruptions.
Okay.
And
so you need to be in the zone. You need to be, leaning back in your favourite chair with a nice glass of red wine, cigar, closing your eyes, and play. Two unemployed actors.
No, so this week I've applied for more auditions.
It helps.
The Cleaners is a new musical workshop.
Right.
Applied for that. It's
so
paid.
wait, musical workshop. Does that mean?
So it means it's a new musical.
Yep.
You have a week of rehearsals.
Right.
And then a public viewing.
Jeez.
And it's to test if it works with an audience.
I see. So you can sort of take risks and see what sort of works and not.
So they did that with 3 Weeks in Spring in 2011.
Right.
And then developed it more.
Did they listen to the feedback in 2011?
Maybe. But yeah, so that's cool, and you get paid. I think it's $800. That's pretty good.
God, just getting paid $8.50. Just getting paid a cappuccino is great.
But I also got a message from a guy named Nathan who's putting on a series of short films called I'm Not Gay.
Right.
And they're 5 short films about kind of homosexual relationships and stuff like that. And he contacted me and said, you have the right look for this bartender role that I think he had already cast other stuff, but I said, I'm also available to audition for other roles. But he said, you have the right look for this bartender role, but can you do a self-tape reading this line? It's one line, but you're paid anyway, all this stuff. I said, cool, I'd love to be a bartender. So I was like, Jess, sit there, let's do it now.
So under pressure, self-imposed deadline is now.
Yeah.
So and you work better under pressure, don't you?
Exactly. But it's good sometimes to get it done. And I just said I got my shoe boxes out and put the camera on top. I got like one of our baskets which has clothes in it or whatever.
Yep.
And used it as like a bar table and then like filled up an empty rosé bottle with water and like had a glass and then had a like.
You weren't tempted to use real wine or alcohol?
It was empty. I should have like kept drinking it. And then I had like
By
a tea towel.
Wow.
I had a tea towel over my shoulder and stuff and did all this.
Oh, well
pretended to be a
done.
bartender and
Well
then did my
done.
line and that was the end. And I sent it back straight away and he's like, I love working with passionate people. This is amazing. The turnover was great. I'd love to say yes, but have to wait 24 hours and let other people do it. But then he got back to me and said, good news. And I was
Well
like,
done.
well, that's a good start. If he says good news, you're not cast. That would be a bit weird. But
probably want to work with someone else if
Yeah.
that's their approach. Yeah.
But read through is this Saturday.
Okay.
And filming is in March, so that's good. And also, quick little side note, I'm
Yep.
going to see Michael Bublé on Saturday night.
Well done.
So
So being
well
a singer
done.
yourself, that's your absolute, like he's one of your...
I still do listen to him. I used to
Yep.
listen to him a lot more, but when I started getting into jazz, I listen to Michael
Yeah.
Bublé all the time. And I
Yeah.
love him
He's
and
like
stuff.
he's like a Frank Sinatra for the millennials. It's
Exactly,
great.
exactly.
And,
And
he just
apparently
keeps
he's
on
very
going
funny.
because his
He's very
audience has
entertaining.
grown up and yet he's still attracting new younger people
Yeah.
as well. And is it
So I got
true?
that for my birthday. So we're going to
Happy birthday for then. That's
When is it?
not
Max?
now. It's just
If you get this wrong,
we
I'm
just
I'm
had
leaving.
it. We just had
I'm
it. It was
leaving.
like the other day.
Oh yeah. Okay, you got it.
Well done. That was close.
Close
It's
call.
almost like I forgot completely. So, is it true that he was getting lots of knockbacks early in his career and he self-funded his first album?
Possibly. I'm
'Cause
not sure.
I
A lot of that
think-
happens, right?
Yeah, Emma told me that he'd raised funds
Mm.
because I think there was someone that was saying yes but wanted to change X, Y, and Z. You know what it's like. Everyone
he's
has they love jazz, they love classics or whatever, but they end up having to perform, something poppy because that's what makes the money for the companies right now.
Yeah.
He put his money where his mouth is, and that's what started his kickstarted his career.
Nice.
One thing I wanted to talk about today was what influences us, and I mean it could be like what started us thinking about performing before even thinking about being an actor, or what
could be
keeps us
everything.
moving forward day to day, what
100%.
influences us, what fuels us. So I think it's kind of important because it's not only, I mean, there's so many different ways to fall into the industry, but once you're in and you're committed, it's sometimes hard to stay motivated and to keep moving. A good way.
I'm going to talk about like people who like actors who have influenced us as well.
And I mean, it's a good way to, keeping busy is one thing, but it's easier said than done. So with that
Let's get
disclaimer out of the way,
started.
I think, you know what, you're probably going to laugh, but when I was like 6 years old, I used to watch a lot of reruns after the cartoons. Important part of my life at 6 years old was cartoons. I wanted to grow up and basically make a living from watching cartoons and try and find out how that could happen. That was my goal at 6. But after the cartoons on Saturday morning, back before the internet, there was only a handful of channels and reruns of Abbott and Costello.
Okay.
Because
Yes, I've heard
I had a great sense of humour and the way they structured their jokes, it wasn't just about physical comedy. Like there was thought behind it.
Okay.
And there was some physicality as well. And then you had the two personalities underwriting that were opposites. So it was really, there was so much there to play with and it was so fun and funny. And I thought that was really cool. That and reruns of Get Smart, Maxwell Smart, which I got called a lot in primary school. So I figured I might as well watch this. No, I watched that sort of Mel Brooks comedy as well, which was really cool. That got me started to, like I did a bit more on terms of drama and plays in primary school. As a result of being inspired by that sort of
nice.
stuff.
Yeah.
We had
cool.
a few swings and roundabouts. I have to tell you a story.
Go.
My brother and I had this deal.
You have a
So-
brother?
Yes,
Do
3
you
years
even know
younger.
anything about you?
Yeah.
Do you have one?
He's
one-
out
you
there
have one-
somewhere.
one brother?
And just one sibling.
3 years
And the voices in my head, that's it. And Fred the Dachshund. Yeah, we had this deal, right? Whoever wakes up first on a Saturday morning has to wake the other guy up so that we don't miss the cartoons because this is what fuels us. This is this is what we live for. Saturday
that's
morning
cute.
cartoons. One day, we woke up a bit too early and we were out there. We got caught by my father who's walking through the sunroom and there we are watching this rather raunchy movie that was on in the middle of the night on SBS in Australia.
Yeah.
Completely the wrong content type for anyone under 18. And we learned a lot that night, but we missed, I think we missed the cartoons. We were about 4 hours too
What
early.
was it?
And he's just walked into the room right in the middle of a scene that's rather uncomfortable now. At the time, we don't know what the hell we're looking at. What is this biology documentary? And this science documentary.
About the anatomy.
And he's like, what the hell are you doing? It's like, well, we're just waiting for the cartoons. No, back to bed, mate. You are not. You were not waiting for the cartoons, watching these sorts of movies.
What was it?
Like I can remember, I don't know, I was 6 years old,
Oh, yeah.
probably traumatized for at least an hour or two. And that's what sort of got me thinking about being funny.
Acting.
Yeah, exactly. Not that movie in the middle of the night.
The movie, that's what I was thinking.
Different acting.
Did you start in porn?
This short film, different short film. But yeah, no, that's what sort of feel. And like there was one stage, I think it was grade 4, and we were putting on this play in primary school. And it was kind of like this reporter interviewing all these different characters, and each kid in the class had a character. And the teacher's like, well, who's going to be the reporter? Like, who's going to be this kid that stands up there and ad-libs the whole thing? And so everyone just turned around and went, Max. I'm like, what? Why me? You know, I'm like, I don't understand. Why? And no, we get, this is you. This is what you do, you know. I haven't changed at all, actually. I haven't matured yet. 35 years. But so that's that. And then once I was up there, it was awesome. It was a great feeling. And that's kind of how it started, what inspired me to start. Yeah.
See, I never had the idea when I was younger of being a performer. I loved, like every kid, dressing up in costumes and having those, you know, birthday parties when you're dressed up and themed and all that stuff. But I did start in music quite early. I was in choir and I played violin for 6 years, and I enjoyed music, and I wanted to enter the talent show with my best friend, and we did all that stuff. But I still never thought I'd be a performer, and I did a lot of behind the scenes work. So in year 6, we were given, you know, like monitor roles, like a library monitor, go get everyone's books for you.
Yep.
I was like technology monitor, so I'd go to the assemblies and put in the discs and turn the lights on and all that stuff, and I loved all that, and that was great. And you meant to swap every term, but I was like, no, and then just kept going for the whole
world.
year. Yeah, 100%.
Get the hell out.
Exactly. And then got to high school, and there was a production team who helped with the set and lighting design during plays, and I was like, oh my god, I went straight to...
What a great way to get into
exactly
into it.
And I went straight to the head of that and said I want to join. And he's like, great. I didn't end up doing anything with them, because the moment a production came about, an audition, I auditioned, I was like, why not? This would be fun. Got a role, and I was like, oh my god, the adrenaline even that I had even while waiting to read my name on the casting list was there.
Fantastic.
What am I going to feel like on stage?
That's crazy. So you were led into it by the behind the scenes, and then just sort of inadvertently, oh well, I might as well give it a shot, and there you are.
Exactly. And I was on stage, and I did it, and I loved even this was the play that I slammed my hand in the door. Even when that happened.
That's right.
Even when that happened.
It's a few podcasts ago, that story, but it's well worth a listen.
Exactly. It didn't discourage me. It is well worth a listen,
discourage
actually.
worthy.
Yeah, exactly. And I loved the feeling it gave me. I loved entertaining people and getting those laughs and
it's nothing like a live audience.
The euphoria and everything on stage. But I still didn't want to leave the production crew, really. I wanted to do something with them, but I just kept auditioning for stuff, and I was like, I can't do it, and I dropped out of that. And then just the first opening night at the end, I was like, my whole life's changed around. I know now
that's crazy,
what I want to do, and it's been 8 years, and it still hasn't changed.
See, the arts are so important in just generally to be funded in any community, but and culturally important, but in schools, the arts are so important.
And my school was quite well-rounded, and had a big
so
drama
department. You have to do a bit of drama at a certain age. You have to do a bit of music and a bit of
but I stayed with that as well.
And then afterwards you can choose your electives.
Exactly.
Right,
and I vowed to do at least one production per year at school. Not only because I loved it, but I was afraid that if I didn't, I'd forget about it or forget the feeling that I had. So that it was almost like out of fear of losing now what I know I want to do.
Right.
But also how much I love it. But around that first production time, I remember something in my brain going, I know what I want to do. So cool. There is nothing else I want to do, and that still hasn't changed.
It's amazing to know. So for me, like I knew I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
When I was on stage, same feeling. Like I knew I enjoyed. This is great. I can do this. It's fun, and making them laugh. They're laughing. I'm laughing. Making it funnier. Everything. It just keeps getting better and better. Finishing school, obviously, I took the business stream. And then found myself on the Gold Coast as a teenager, following the parents up from Melbourne. Yeah. And huge change, because my whole life was Melbourne. Like I was volunteering at community radio stations, doing promotions while attending school and doing lots of sports, rowing, lots of stuff. It was like my whole world was Melbourne, right? And I still think of it as home. And then suddenly I'm on the Gold Coast. I have no job. I don't know anyone. Yeah. Like, what am I going to do? And I turned on the radio, and what do you know? There's a dance music community radio station. So I turned up, and it's like, well, yeah, we can give you a shot next Sunday. Come on in on air. I'm like, oh crap! I've never owned a CD player.
Yeah.
And I've got 2 CD players, 2 turntables, 2
Oh my
MIDI disc players, even a reel-to-reel machine to
Yeah.
use for sponsorship announcements. And I've got no idea how. So I came in, obviously practiced. And then from my Sunday shows, went to 6 till 10 weeknights where I got to produce and get a co-host and lots of stuff, and just flew on from
Very
there.
cool.
So that
Yeah.
started my 5-year journey of and
radio
I just
hosting,
thought of it as fun. I love music. It was a great lifestyle, go
Yeah.
straight from on air, finish at 10, go straight to the clubs, happy days.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
work 2 days a week for a corporate as a rep, and then the other days you're auditioning. So I didn't really think of it as work. It was just so much fun.
Yeah.
But then it really sharpened my ability with ad-libbing and keeping things going and the whole
Nice.
planning
Yeah.
process, producing and hosting stuff. At the time, I had an agent for modelling/acting.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't done any acting training at all except for school.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot of work at the time because the dollar was so low. So all the production companies were coming from the States and all sorts of places to get the benefits. And so it was busy. So I thought it was normal as an actor, inverted commas, to just be working all the time.
And then you get a slap in the face.
Yeah, well, I didn't really take it that seriously though. Like I was still very much on the business stream, so that was
Yeah.
presented to me,
Okay.
and I really have to do this. So when I actually I went and got another agent. I sort of traded up and away because I'd had so much work. It was kind of like, now it's time. One of the producers and someone actor on set one day just said, look, you should take it seriously. Here's an agent. I think it was Judy Brown Management in Brisbane, and they said, okay, we can make money out of you. You've got to do what we tell you to do though. You've got to go to this workshop, this course each week, and if we give you a job to do it, even if you don't think it fits because it's for your development. We haven't had anyone on our books for 12 months. We're picking you, so don't fuck up basically.
Yeah, yeah.
2 months later, the corporate I worked for said, why don't you work full time for us instead of part time, and we'll send you up to Cairns to work at Far North Queensland. It's a $13 million territory, our biggest territory, 9 staff.
What was the company again? that you
Arnott's,
went- Okay.
owned by Campbell's at the time,
Yeah.
Campbell's Soups,
I didn't never asked you. Yeah.
yeah, so I was repping for them part-time in like service stations where
Yeah.
you're doing like 10 calls a day and building displays and
Okay.
whatever they're selling. I remember the moment I walked in and said to the agent, sorry, I'm not going to pursue this because I have to do this business thing.
Yeah. Okay.
And she looked at me like, I'm an idiot. You're going to go up to the tropics and sell biscuits and you've got a place on our portfolio. And look, she pulled out a list. Look at we've got auditions. Where was this? No, going to Cairns. Which then started my 20-year journey.
Do you regret that or not?
No, not at all.
Because you got to here.
And I think I needed to do that.
Yeah.
It's
okay.
like I knew I would come back to acting.
Yeah.
I didn't know when or how.
Yeah.
I knew I would.
Yeah.
I just knew that I had to do this.
Yeah. Sure. I don't
And-
regret. I don't like things like regretting things in your life because it all leads. It puts you on another
And it was
path
great
then-
life experience for
Yeah,
me. Being
exactly.
thrown into all sorts of situations.
I mean, people always say like you're so lucky to know what you want to do and all this stuff, and I'm like, I feel very lucky, and I do feel very grateful. But at the same time, because I knew so early on,
yeah.
I made it very very aware in my head, and
Yeah.
I was
It's
very
not luck,
cautious
it's
to
a
not
plan.
but to not close my doors
Mm.
for anything else, and I
Yep.
kept an open mind.
Yep.
But there was nothing besides design. I do enjoy
Right.
design a lot, and I did work experience at Animal Logic, which is an animation visual
Right.
effects place, which does a lot of big films
Huge.
in Fox Studios. Besides that and acting and performing, I kept an open mind. I literally did not want to do anything else, and I
Yep.
still don't, and I can't think of doing anything else.
Yeah.
Another like more specific influencer I guess I have is like a theatre practitioner. His name is Lee Strasberg.
Right. Yes.
Don't know if you've heard of him. You have heard of him.
Yep.
Method acting kind of style. And, I started in school, we were taught Stanislavski, which is,
Yep.
all that realism and analysis. But I did try that. And that's the good thing about acting for such a long time and being in the industry now for 8 years is you learn what works for you and
That's right.
what doesn't. And Stanislavski
So important.
it doesn't work for me. I think too much when I do Stanislavski.
End up overanalyzing everything.
Overanalyze, and
Yeah.
then the audience can see that. And
Yeah.
it's me, it's
No,
an
you're
actor
out of it,
analysing. With Strasberg. Anyway, can't even say his freaking name.
Your idol, your hero. What's he called? Strassy.
Strassy, yeah, let's go on that. Lee. He talks about like going off your instinct and really listening to other characters slash actor. And he uses an exercise where you repeat the same line over and over again. And if you don't listen and you just concentrate on how you've practiced the delivery of the line,
Right.
then whether the other actor delivers that line with anger or happiness, you're going to deliver it the exact same, and that's not real. That's not real life, right? So his is very instinct based. If this actor decides to play it this way one night make sure you're listening, because it's not going to look real if they say it one way and you respond in the same way you've been doing it. You know?
But people just don't understand how much work it takes
Mm-hmm.
so that you don't look like you're acting. You know, they don't want to.
Over half of I'd say 70% of acting put into practice is listening.
Yeah.
You can't, that's what humans do. You don't just talk and not
Putting
listen. I mean,
yourself in
some
the
people talk
moment
and not listen.
Yeah.
But those
Some
people
make a living out of it.
Yeah, exactly. But I think my favorite quote from him is, "A great actor is independent of the poet, because the supreme essence of feeling does not reside in prose or in verse, but in the accent with which it is delivered."
Deep.
Very deep. But I love that one. Obviously, an actor has a script,
Yep.
instructions, has stage directions, or whatever. But you need to be independent of that, and that's what he's talking about, instinct, because the audience's feeling doesn't come from, they don't know. You could change a whole paragraph. They wouldn't know unless they know the actual monologue, but that's not the point.
Yeah.
The feeling comes from you performing that, and that's why he's a big influence on me.
It's good that, some actors still struggle with where they're leaning in terms of influence on the craft, and I think I was lucky in a way where I knew it was season season 6 of my theatre company, Sydney Theatre Company membership, and I'm like, I need to get back into acting. I think it was season 4, season 5, season 6. I was really thinking about it in terms of planning about it. And it's a big deal. 20 years of corporate, at a senior level, it's time to move on, turn my plan B into a plan A.
Mm.
I ended up doing one-on-one lessons, and then was recommended to, because I still had this imposter syndrome massively.
Yeah.
And even when I found the agents, let's just do a few featured extra roles first, just to make sure I'm still comfortable on set, and this still really is something I want to do, and it was, and it is. So what ended up being my first workshop ended up being this whole way of working in terms of acting, and this whole fresh perspective, because Anthony Brandon Wong, marvellous actor, both stage and screen. I've seen him work on stage and screen. Fantastic at creating a safe space for which you, as one of a handful of actors, can work within, while he sort of helps gently sort of push you, and sometimes also gently out of your comfort zone to try different things and go a bit further than you normally would have. And I'm sort of submitting completely to that, going, well, I've been hiding my emotions for 20 years in the corporate world, so let's rip that Band-Aid right off. And one technique that he leans on heavily is Ivana Chubbuck's technique.
Yes,
and
I have a book.
He's like the guru for Australia for Chubbuck.
Sure.
And for me, it was great to be introduced at a time when my whole corporate career was all about processes and looking at different things and trying to creatively solve problems. Here is this technique that allows you to have this process that's quite organised.
It's quite structured.
Exactly.
It's very similar to Stanislavski's.
So I've moved straight from a structured environment to a structured system and process.
It helped you.
It absolutely helped me bridge the gap from corporate to the creative world, to the point where I felt confident doing a second workshop with Anthony.
Yeah, nice.
And from that scene that we did, myself and Dane Noonan, I loved it. I could direct you guys doing that for a showreel piece, and we did, which was like a way to say to me, you've come so far since your first tentative footsteps back into the acting world. Like, that was a big tick for me, because wanting to do it and being able to do it are two very different things.
Yeah,
especially when imposter syndrome's hanging over your head.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of like catch up on the business part and going to all these events to sort of, drink wine and eat canapes and mingle and see what happens behind the scenes.
Can you still get me free Arnott's?
I can't, no. Go the Tim Tams.
Yeah.
That's one company I've worked for where I still like the product. There's a few companies where I wouldn't, even the people who work there wouldn't eat what they
really?
think of a breakfast cereal manufacturer. No one who worked there ate that stuff. It's salt and sugar and Eat the packaging. No, they're all eating, muesli with fresh yogurt and fruit and stuff. None of the stuff from a packet.
The smell of cereal factories is really nice, actually. Have you smelled those going by?
I have, actually.
It's just sugar.
I remember my old boss who organised a huge tour of the factory. I'm not going to name the company. Huge tour of the factory, with the biggest customer being Woolworths. And the buyer turns up with his team.
Yeah.
And it's the one day of the month where they don't make anything. It's the washdown. So they're just cleaning all the equipment.
Oh, no. That's so...
Literally walking them from one wet space to another, dodging hoses as everyone's cleaning equipment.
Why did he pick that there?
Because he's a sales guy. It's all about get the buyer out. It's not about production schedules.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what led me to this moment. what helps me move forward and be consistently inspired is other people's work, like going out there, seeing new plays, seeing shows, TV shows, movies, out to the cinema with a nice Q&A. Even if it's something that I wouldn't think of watching, I might get more, it might surprise me. And even the Q&A. And reading books and like, I don't care where my stories come from.
A very easy way to stay motivated now that you put it into my mind and made me remember, like, if you're having trouble staying motivated, go see a production, because every time I go see something, I'm like, God damn, I want to be in that.
There's something in there.
I want to do
that,
and it will re-motivate you. Yeah, 100%.
And
TV shows do that, movies do that, but
print out a script, print out a monologue, you know, spend time on it. Don't do this. Well, it's whatever works for you. I don't sort of go for the whole, let's do one a day for 100 days or something. I'd rather get one and work on it and really get into it. Yeah. Like I would if it was the biggest opportunity of my life. This audition was worked and the part is in your hands and they don't believe in you, so you've got to make it work. It's you put that sort of mindset on and delve into it from analysis all the way through to walking around in circles with the script in your hand and then film it after a couple of weeks or so. You know what I mean? That sort of stuff is great. And then you if you have that mindset, if you think like you're constantly busy because you're busy, you're going to stay busy. Suddenly, 100%. Here I am.
It's all going to come into place.
We've got the podcast. I've got the lead in Lipstick, which is coming up in May. Short film, great connections.
You mean wearing lipstick?
And no, but it's like it's really like and busy going to industry things and that sort of stuff. On Thursday this week, actually, premiere of Angry Fags, which is on at the New Theatre in Enmore, for those of you in Sydney, which is going to be pretty deep. I think I feel it's going to be like what happened in terms of bullying, harassment and stuff back in the day and how that's affected people, like a sort of interview style. It's I don't want to, I purposely avoided knowing too much about it because I know I'm going to enjoy it and I want to just go and let it all unfold as a new piece. So yeah, I mean, just doing that and staying like, I think that helped me make the bridge from corporate because I was doing so much of that, going to the theatre as often as I could, going to movie premieres with Q&As afterwards, you know, lots of stuff like that. Kept reminding me that I'm so much more interested than just seeing the production. I want to be in stuff. Yeah. Hopefully there's stuff in there for everyone. Hopefully you've got something out of it. Let us know if you have or haven't. Let us know what you want to hear. Reach out because we love our feedback.
Comment, email, anything.
And want to make it a very interactive discussion within the community. So with that in mind, I think we're done.
Sounds good.
I'm Max.
I'm Sam.
And that was 2 Unemployed Actors. We'll see you next time.
See you guys.
Bye.
2 unemployed actors.